You're no longer just betting, you're investing. There's always going to be volatility with swings to the upside and swings to the downside. This is as close to passive income as you're going to get in this field. I didn't profit almost 6K last month from allowing my emotions to dictate my betting decisions. And look, I'm no Warren Buffett either, so that's a nice amount of money to pocket by doing something I already love. But I'll bet you if you did ask Warren Buffett, he'd tell you that anyone who bets with emotion is 100% guaranteed to be a long-term losing bettor. Think of it like this. What feels worse than losing all of those bets you spent tons of time researching? I'll tell you, chasing those bets with more losing bets because you feel like you need to claw back those losses. And you were probably far less confident in those secondary bets than you were in the original bets to begin with. But you placed those bets anyway, because that's what it looks like to be held captive by your emotions in sports betting. They control what you bet, not logic. That impulse you have to get back on track is so powerful that it overrides any remaining trace of rational thinking. And then, of course, it forces you to double down on your original bet by hammering it live multiple times with twice the size of your original wager, only for all of them to lose. And now a standard bad day becomes an awful day, and the cycle just continues. Does that sound familiar? But it doesn't have to be that way. And truthfully, if you're treating sports betting differently than you would literally any other investment, well, then you should either only do it as a hobby and accept that you're never going to win long-term, or quit. But if you're actually interested in breaking this habit and you want to start treating betting as an investment and not some undisciplined money sink, consider trying Portfolio EV. And do it with zero risk to yourself by using code INVEST to get your first 2 weeks entirely free when you go to oddshopper.com. You're no longer just betting, you're investing. And then you're reinvesting that bankroll every day to create compounding returns which snowball over time into something huge. Let me ask you guys something. What would a 5% ROI look like on a $1,000 bankroll? If you answered $50, you'd be wrong, because we're not talking about simple returns here. So assuming your bankroll grows at 5% and you're fully reinvesting that every day, that would mean that your starting $1,000 bankroll is over $4,300 in 1 month. But that's a little bit disingenuous because you're never going to have a 5% fixed daily return. There's always going to be volatility with swings to the upside and swings to the downside. So instead, what if we run a simulation that accounts for that volatility, but that averages a 5% daily return? In this one right here, your bankroll would still be over $3,000 for the month. And that's a 5% return on everything you've wagered and a 203% ROI on your starting bankroll. Now, I use that 5% for a very specific reason, because the actual ROI on all of the NBA bets tracked within the Portfolio EV tool this year is 5.5%. And all of those results are 100% public over at oddshopper.com if you wanted to check them out for yourself. So here's why I'd say it's worth it for anyone who's genuinely looking to refine their sports betting process. With Portfolio EV, you can effortlessly place 100 plus bets a day and totally avoid the risk of ruin. And you do this through diversification. And since you can place up to 20 bets at a time added straight into your bet slip with the mass entry tool, this is as close to passive income as you're going to get in this field. Consider this for a second. Now your entire day no longer relies on the outcome of 4 or 5 bets. No more 0-4 crushing days where you feel like you wasted precious time. And no more digging yourself deeper into that same hole you've been trying to climb out of. I mean, I bet more like a robot than a human at this point. And it works for me because emotion and overanalysis are fully removed from the equation. You're simply allowing the market to dictate what bets you place just by finding inefficiencies across these sports books who set bad lines. And then you bet as many of them as you possibly can. And I fully understand some of this may sound like I'm speaking Chinese, so feel free to ask questions in the comments below or DM me on Twitter. They're always open. But really what all of this comes down to, because Portfolio EV is using a market-based approach, is that by identifying the true odds on every one of these bets, and we use a sharp source for each market in order to do so, you know which books are posting these bad lines. Look, I am far from the sharpest person in the world. I'll be the first person to admit it. But I understand probabilities enough to know that if a sports book posts LeBron under 6.5 rebounds at -105, and we've identified the true odds at -120, well, that bet has a higher probability of winning than the odds that are being offered to us by the sports books. It's that easy. I also fully understand how much these small edges add up over time. I mean, we've had users turn a $100 bankroll into more than $8,000 in under 4 months, just betting NBA and NHL with the Portfolio EV tool. And the best part is all the legwork, all the math from people much smarter than ourselves, All of that's been done for us already. All we have to do is bet the plus EV lines. At the end of the day, it doesn't have to be an emotional game anymore. Instead, think of it as an investment portfolio of bets each day, where your returns compound as your bankroll continues to grow. And that right there is where you start seeing a true difference in profits. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And if nothing else, I hope you took at least one thing away from this that can help you going forward, whether it's removing emotions from your betting, understanding how powerful compounding returns are in sports betting, or maybe that a market-based approach is for you and you'd like to see those returns compound over time and quickly. And if that's the case, use promo code INVEST right there on the screen at oddshopper.com. Get your first 2 weeks entirely free of Portfolio EV. If you hate it, cancel before your free trial's up, but I don't think you will. Download a Picket, get a bet tracker, grab the app, and jump in the Discord, and you'll be well on your way to seeing those type of profits that you saw when you started this video. We'll see you guys back here for the next one.